You are standing on a quiet pavement as Christmas Eve settles into a 1970s British street. The sky has already dimmed to a soft slate color, even though it is barely late afternoon, and the cold presses gently through your coat. You can smell coal smoke drifting from nearby chimneys, mixing with damp leaves and the faint sweetness of something baking somewhere close. A bus passes at the end of the road with a tired sigh of air brakes, its windows glowing briefly before disappearing. You walk home slowly, shoes scuffing against the pavement, hands tucked deep into your pockets. In front windows, thin curtains are half drawn, and the warm yellow light inside spills out in uneven rectangles. Somewhere a radio murmurs through static, and from another house comes the clink of crockery being set out with care. You pause at your own front door, the paint chipped around the handle from years of use, and you feel that familiar mix of relief and anticipation. Inside waits a house that is not perfect or quiet, but known in every sound and smell. Christmas Eve has arrived, not with spectacle, but with a steady, unspoken understanding that tonight will follow a pattern you have lived through before. This moment matters because it is not just yours. Across Britain, millions of people are moving through the same evening, guided by habit rather than instruction. The routines are shared without coordination, shaped by work schedules, weather, and tradition passed down without ceremony. It is a night that belongs to everyone and no one at once. The shops have closed early, trains are thinning out, and the country begins to turn inward. Whether you live on a terrace, in a tower block, or in a village lane, the rhythm is familiar. Supper will be simple. Tomorrow will come early. Christmas Eve is less about celebration than preparation, a national pause where people quietly align themselves with one another through the same small acts. Before you reach home fully, there is often one last errand or ritual that pulls you back outside. You join others heading toward the local high street, scarves pulled tight, breath visible in the air. The street is brighter than usual, shop windows lit late, displaying modest decorations and handwritten signs. You queue at the butcher's, the bell on the door ringing as people squeeze in and out, stamping their feet against the cold. Inside, the air smells of sawdust and raw meat, and the butcher's apron is streaked from a long day. He jokes with the regulars, wishing them a good one, his voice hoarse but warm. Further along, the off-license is busy, bottles clinking as they are lifted from crates, brown paper bags folded tight. You pass neighbors you recognize but rarely speak to, exchanging nods that carry more meaning tonight than on any other evening. The post office is closed, the bank dark, but the newsagent remains open, selling last-minute cards and evening papers. Somewhere nearby, a church door stands open, light spilling onto the pavement, and you hear the faint echo of a choir rehearsing in the cold air. You do not linger long, but the sound follows you as you walk away, folding itself into your sense that this night belongs to everyone. Back at home, the work continues. Coats are hung wherever there is space, and the kitchen fills with overlapping tasks. Someone is peeling vegetables at the table, the rhythmic scrape of a knife against a board marking time. The oven hums steadily, and a pan rattles as it is stirred, steam fogging the window above the sink. The smell of boiling sprouts mixes with roasting meat, heavy and unavoidable. There is a sense of waiting threaded through everything, an awareness that tomorrow depends on what is done tonight. A list is checked and rechecked, sometimes only in someone's head. Wrapping paper is smoothed out on the floor, its edges curling back stubbornly, tape tearing too loudly in the quiet moments. Children are sent out of the way and then called back to help, holding parcels steady or fetching forgotten scissors. There is tension here, but it is contained, shaped by duty and care rather than anger. You feel it in the way voices rise and then soften again, in the way time seems both plentiful and scarce. Christmas Eve is not effortless, but it is purposeful. Later in the evening, the focus shifts to the adult world, where the day's strain loosens slightly. The pub down the road glows against the dark, windows misted, laughter leaking out each time the door opens. Inside, coats are draped over chairs, and pints leave rings on wooden tables. The air is thick with smoke and the smell of beer, and the talk is louder than usual, edged with tired humor. People complain about work, about the cold, about relatives arriving the next day, and then laugh at themselves for it. Back at home, the television flickers in the corner, its picture slightly unsteady, offering familiar faces and gentle jokes. Someone dozes in an armchair, mouth open, while another insists on watching until the end. There is warmth here, not just from the fire or the drinks, but from the release of knowing that the hardest part is over. Christmas Eve allows this small indulgence, a softening of rules before morning resets them again. As the night deepens, you experience it differently if you are a child. Baths are run, the water steaming the small room, and you are scrubbed clean with brisk efficiency. Pajamas feel stiff and cold at first, then warm as you climb into bed. The room is darker than you like, shadows stretching across familiar shapes, and the window lets in a faint draft that carries the smell of frost. You listen to the sounds of the house settling, footsteps on stairs, muffled voices, the clink of a glass being set down. Sleep does not come easily. Your mind is full of images and questions, of rules you have been told to follow and promises that depend on them. You lie still, staring at the ceiling, believing and doubting at the same time. The cold presses in, but the blankets are heavy, anchoring you. Christmas Eve, from this place, feels endless and fragile, balanced between certainty and hope. Eventually, the house grows quieter, and beyond it, so does everything else. The street outside settles into a rare stillness. Traffic fades away, replaced by the distant hum of something you cannot place. Lights go out one by one, leaving only a few windows glowing softly against the dark. Frost begins to form on car roofs, catching what little light there is. Somewhere a door closes gently, and then nothing follows it. You sense, even without seeing it, that this calm stretches far beyond your own street. Across towns and cities, people are pausing in the same way, suspended between what has been done and what is to come. It feels like a shared breath held across the country, fragile and unspoken. Christmas Eve is not loud at this hour. It is defined by absence, by the quiet agreement to stop for a moment and let the night pass. When you look back on it now, what stays with you is not decoration or gifts, but that feeling of belonging to something larger through ordinary effort. Christmas Eve in 1970s Britain was built from routine, endurance, and small kindnesses repeated year after year. It asked little, but it gave a sense of place in return. If this memory stirred something in you, take a moment to share it below. Tell us where you were, or what you remember most clearly. And if you want to keep exploring these quiet moments from the past together, subscribe to Britain Rewind and stay for the next story.